good, so I'm gonna give.
Yo, 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 yo.
Hello, 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 good people.
Happy Monday. Happy Monday. It's been a little minute, man. But we back. We started fresh with the new year with a whole bunch of stories that, you know, that's been hitting hard, man. A lot of people been hitting us in the inbox asking can they come on and share their story. You most definitely can. Um, we just we just mind you the people that's viewing to be respectful because y'all gotta realize that these are people this is their real life. This stuff is not made up. We might be on the internet, but these people are really going through this or they've been through it. So keep in mind. And
It's a new year. I ain't gonna get no cliches, but I hope everybody got New Year's resolutions where they doing better for their children. Everybody, thank you for rocking with us up until this point. We're growing fast. Thank you so much to everybody. Like, subscribe, share the lives. We're trying to get our subscribers up so that we can raise more awareness every day. For everybody that I just lost my train of thought. Who's the deadbeat?
there we go.
It's not liable or reliable for any court proceedings or any to follow after your interview. So keep in mind if you have to go to court after this, if this could be used against you, that's on you. So that's what we are with it.
Don't say no
And
names.
no videos come down. So let's just put that out there. But yeah, let's get right into it.
We got up and Jess. We're gonna call you Jay Will.
Yeah, that's what's up.
All right. We got Jay Will. What's going on, Jay Will?
Man, a lot, man. I'm going through a custody battle right now with the mother of my son. Um and it's just been hard, man. She put me through a lot. A little background on me. I'm from
Hold on, hold
Michigan.
on. Before we get in there, just tell the people where you calling from.
Okay. I live in Napa, California.
Napa,
What
California.
well that's what I was gonna do the whole little background. I'm from Michigan originally.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Michigan. I moved out to LA in 2014, and I moved out there. I used to be an artist. Well, I'm an artist. Not used to be. I'm an artist. I had a nice little run at it in my early 20s, but as it died down, I started to look for other outlets to be creative. So I picked up a camera, picked up some editing stuff. I went out to LA for a job in production. I hated it. Ended up finding myself in West Hollywood working in a bar, and eventually landed a gig where all I did was celebrity events. So for 6 years, 5.5 years or so in Los Angeles, all I did was like celebrity events, bartending, high end events. Did really well. Made a good living for
Okay.
myself.
So how many kids do you have?
I have two kids. I have a daughter in Michigan,
Okay.
with who lives with her mother. That's not the issue. Me and my daughter have had a good relationship, up until the point that I left Michigan. Um, I had a relationship with her. We had me and her mother had our own. Sometimes things just don't work out, but it never was toxic. We had our
Okay.
issues where we couldn't get along. We did end up going through the courts to work everything out because she wanted total control, and I want it. And it's crazy because with my daughter, I always looked at it like, as much as I needed to be in her life and wanted her in my life, I knew that her mother was more in a place to be that role player. And so I didn't argue. I didn't fight her with the custody stuff. She was more established at the time. She just had her head on better, and I just wanted to be a part of my daughter's life. I wasn't gonna.
How
I
old is
don't.
your daughter?
My daughter's 16.
And how old is your son?
My son is 2. He'll be 3 at the end of February.
So your son is the one that's being alienated from you that you're going through the custody battle with.
Yeah, yeah,
So with you and his mom, what was that like? Was it like a relationship, a situationship? Were you
yeah.
gonna
So
get married? Like what was that?
well, so after the pandemic, I had met her in Los Angeles, and Los Angeles was just kind of crazy at that time. So we was both trying to get out. You know, it was like one of those things where like, you know, we met each other. We both were kind of driven, trying to do similar things. So I thought, and I'm from Michigan, and she was from Sonoma, which Sonoma is near Napa. It's about 30 minutes from Napa. It's wine country. It's all industry up here, as far as like wine and food and all that goes. So I was like, well, we got two choices: we leave here and we go to Michigan and restart, or we go up north and restart. And she was like, she ain't going to Michigan. Uh, she's from California, so she don't want to deal with the cold or whatever. And I said, okay, let's do it. And I had a little bit of money at the time, and she was kind of struggling. So I was like, yeah, wherever you want to go, let's do it. So we came up here. We came up here.
So just to be clear, y'all was together.
We was together. Yeah, we was
Okay.
together. Full send. We was together. So we come up here, and it had only been like 3 or 4 months that we were dating, that we were together, that we decided to make that move. But it was, in the beginning, this passion and this love, and it's just exciting. So we just like, all right, let's run with it.
So
Uh,
what went left?
what's that?
What went left? How did it go left?
Well, I started to find out things that about her that I didn't previously know, like she was a stripper. Prior
Mm.
to us getting together. Which I wasn't mad at that. You know what I mean? I just wanted things to be different. And I was helping her, I was aiding. She wanted to be a lash tech, she wanted to be a hair tech. Aiding and all that. I have a certification in bartending. I have my own company hosting these parties. I was trying to put her on the parties, teach her how to bartend, show her different things. We moved up to Northern California. um, I quickly established myself as a premier bartender in the area. I got a job at a resort in Sonoma. Was flourishing at the job. Was going to get her a job there. She didn't like that slow money. When you're accustomed to living a certain type of lifestyle and getting money
So
and,
what did she
and
tell you that she did? Like what was her profession to you, not knowing
well,
that she was an exotic dancer?
she never really stated that. You know what I mean? When we first started dating, she was
Oh
staying
man,
with some.
she must have put it on you, did you? You ain't
Yes.
you ain't asked none of the right questions.
Well, no, like so when she was moved, she was living in Miami, and she was living in Texas, and she had lived in New York, and she had said she had did like financial stuff, like working in offices and stuff. I can't remember the exact term of what she was doing, like working in finance. and
Okay.
uh and I seen those connections because there was certain people in her life that were texting her or in her DMs offering her positions to come back to New York or be in Miami and things like that. But those were like short stints, and I learned that about her over the time, is that like she has all these different ideas, but she never follows through with this or that. You know what I mean? She might have did finance for 3 months, but then went back to stripping. You know what I mean? She
So
she
not to cut you off, but it's we rambling a little bit too much about her. Get
yeah.
us to the pregnancy.
Okay, so we move up here, we get a little apartment, I got a good job. But at that point in time, she wasn't holding down a job or anything. So
And how many years has it been? Because you said it was 3 months when y'all went out there. So
yeah, so
how
she
much
well
time went?
Oh yeah,
it,
three
it
years.
wasn't it wasn't it wasn't but a minute. She got pregnant probably like 8 months into the relationship.
Okay.
But I was feeling like we here. We don't came this far. We might as well just. And it wasn't bad at that point. But because I was in it for the long haul. I was in it
And
to
this is
like,
her first baby, right?
yes, her first baby.
Did that make you curious or concerned about what type of mom she would be?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. But I was here for it, and I thought that she was taking my lead and letting me, be the man and in the relationship and lead her. And she trusted in me. You move across the state with somebody, I feel like you trust them. Because that's how I was looking at it. I moved out to a place that I knew no one, and it was all her family. We went to stay with her, but this is what I was saying about things were unraveling to me. We went to go live with her mom, and I get a job, and she was going to get a job at the casino. I had initially got a job at the casino as a bartender. She went with me, and applied to be a dealer. And at this casino, they give dealer training. And on the day that she was supposed to go to the interview or the process, she got the job. She was going to go to her first thing. Her and her mom getting an argument. She calling her mom out her name, and her mom ended up kicking her out. And she said, "Jesse, I know you don't have nobody here, and you just got this job. You don't have to go nowhere, but she can't stay another damn miles." So I didn't know the toxicity between their marriage. I mean,
Yeah.
between their relationship. Then comes out that her mother got her father deported. She Mexican. Her mother got her father deported when she was a little girl, so she never had a
Mhm.
relationship with her father. She told me some other stuff about the stepfather that came in. About him touching
Yeah.
her and stuff like that. So it's like
Saying her.
Essay.
so
Yeah, so she definitely had a background of some trauma,
some trauma. Yeah, definitely.
obviously.
And I and knowing that, I never like jabbed at her about it. You know what I mean? I was trying to be there as a help, as a as a
Helpmate,
as a
like
love.
her partner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a partner.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, all of that stuff starts coming out, and so I end up just putting us up in a spot. So we get a spot, and she get pregnant, and 3 months in, and then the emotions and the hormones is off the chart. So everything that she was angry about or not happy about, and not being fulfilled, because a lot of it was, I knew, was that she wasn't feeling fulfilled. She wasn't feeling like she was finding her way. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
because of her issues with men and family and people that say they love her, she couldn't see the light in my fulfillment, and how that was good for both of us. I think it made her mad. And she would use that against me, and be angry, and then pushing them buttons to where I blow up.
Did
I'm
she
not.
want the baby?
Well, that's now we here. So at first, yeah, it was like, okay, like she thought it was like a beautiful thing, and maybe this is what her calling is. Maybe God's calling her to be a mother, and she didn't have to worry about nothing. Like, I was paying for everything, and I could. It wasn't a problem. So, but that stillness didn't sit right with her.
Yeah.
So she resorted back to her old ways. At 3 months pregnant, she went off to Vegas and didn't tell me where she was.
Mm.
And I find out through the grapevine, through mutual friends that we had, that she was stripping. And
While she was
and
pregnant.
while she was pregnant, she was stripping.
Oh.
So she
Yeah,
she basically wanted to go back to the fast paced life.
yeah.
So
She liked that
before she would
attention.
start showing, she went to go catch a gig to make some
Yeah,
fast money real quick or whatever.
yeah. And try to make up her mind, because that's where she went to Planned Parenthood. So she goes to Planned Parenthood in Vegas, and tells me she's doing it. She's getting rid of our son, and I begged her not to do it, and I called her grandmother. At this point, I have a relationship with her family because she moved me up there. So me
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and her mom and her grandmother, we combined forces like the Transformers, and we all hitting her up and trying to, like, yo, don't do this. There's different options. You ain't got to do this, whatever. And she goes to Planned Parenthood, and the lady at Planned Parenthood printed the ultrasound out to her, and you could see the little baby in there. And so she couldn't do it. She ended up calling me and sending me the picture. I'm like, I can't do it. That's our baby right there. So she ended up coming back. She ended up coming back to Sonoma. We was living in Sonoma, and I was like,
So
it's
what
cool.
what
Like,
was that like when she got back? Because I know you would still have to be upset.
yeah, I was mad. It really turned our relationship into a toxic place for a little bit, but I'm a grown man. I know how to adjust
Did you
my
ever
anger.
suspect infidelity? Did you
Yeah,
possibly
definitely.
think that the baby wasn't yours?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. That was definitely a factor. But the main thing about that, where I didn't have that thought, we was together like all the time. Like when we came back to her hometown, it wasn't nobody else. It wasn't, you know what I mean? The time just lined up. You know what I mean? If
So
that was the case, it would have been when she was in LA, but when she went to Vegas, she was already pregnant.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So it went the time just lined up
yeah.
too right.
So
So
let
that
me
was
ask you this: going back as of right now, you right now thinking back rather, do you think that was like a red flag or to what's the issue is today? Because a lot of people always say that you should have chose better or something like that.
yeah.
Knowing what you know now, do you think that you should have paid close attention to her behaviors and what she was doing in that moment?
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. I feel like I feel like we should have been more careful to not have a baby so soon. You know, I will never, I never could look back and say, you know, I wish it didn't happen, or I just wish it would have. I wish it would have happened differently, and maybe not with her. You know what I mean? But I'm glad it did because I love my son. You know what I mean? You can't. There's nothing that's gonna change that bond that I have with my son. You know what I mean? There's nothing that I would want to change that. So it's like it's not even a want. It's just like, man, I just wish kind of she was better. I wish she would have done the things that she needed to do to get help for to not feel that way because she was going there's really honestly I don't think there's anything that I could have done that would have changed who she was and still got this outcome. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because my son is just everything to me. You
I
know what I mean? It's
I think that people, when they say choose better, in a sense, you already know that you should have
right.
chosen better, right? So, but who likes to hear it? Because at this point, a child is involved. You
Yeah.
love your kids. Like nobody will want to, like you said, go back and not have that kid because you have your kid. You love your kid.
Yeah.
So nobody wants to hear about choosing better. Maybe going forward, you won't make the same mistakes. But I just think that when people say that, you kind of already know that that's what you
What
should
it
have done.
is.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So it's like it don't state the obvious, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, so get us back to the point where you said she came back and
Yeah. So she start coming she come back and but through that time she start like fussing at me a lot and like arguing a lot and then like she was aggressive with it like she'll throw shit at me or like or like or like instead like we're arguing and she see me getting aggravated and instead of like calming down and giving me peace she just keep pressing them buttons so we would get into screaming matches and things like that and then she was a police caller so she would call the police and I
nah.
never once touched this woman at all. um I remember one time we was at a friend's house. We were at a friend's house, and she was just acting out of pocket. And I'm like, "Lo, you gotta chill out, yada yada, whatever." And she called the police while we at the friend's house. And there was a point in time that I had proposed to her because I was like, "Okay, you came back, you having my baby. Maybe there's something else I can do to make you feel a little more secure. Let's get married." You know, and I did the most. I took her to a rooftop in SF and had it all set up. Had the everybody in the restaurant knew that it was happening. Had one of the servers recording it. Walked around the corner with the host and boom, pulled out the ring on her. Yada yada yada. All the tears, whatever. We engaged, whatever. And and that night when we was arguing, she had threw my ring at me. And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna leave because I'm not staying here for these police to come, and we know how that go." So,
Hmm.
and it was other people there, but I don't care about none of that. I'm not even risking that. So I'm walking down the street, and they see me walking down the street, no questions asked, jump on me, wrestle me to the ground. Bob, next thing I know, I'm in jail. So then I had a court date, and I didn't end up going to the court date. I think I had to work or something. I didn't go to court date, so they put a little warrant out, whatever. So the next time we got in an argument, she used that against me. She say, I'm gonna call the police if you don't do this or that or whatever. I had a Cayenne S, a Porsche, and she had took my car keys, and
Mm.
she said she was gonna take my car. So I'm in there arguing with her and trying to get the keys out of her hands or whatever. And she get left hand keys in her right hand, left hand. She dialed the police. He beat me. I need somebody right now. I'm like, no, this woman. I tell him straight up. So I got a warrant for a failure to appear. The police pull up. I don't want to come out the house. I think I got a video of that too. I don't want to come out the house.
Send it.
Um, yeah, I will. I will. I don't want to come out the house. And he's like, no, come on. I said, I know when I come out the house, you putting cuffs on me. He's like, no, I'm not doing that. I just want to talk to you outside the house. It's a domestic violence. We don't want to come in, yada, yada. I'm like, all right. As soon as I walk out the door, he handcuffs me. He's like, we ran your name. You got a warrant for a failure to appear. They take me to jail. I only been working at this job for 2 or 3 months. I got work the next day. I said, I can't miss work. I got petty cash at the house because I'm a bartender. So I got cash in the shoebox. I call her. I say, hey, bring this money. Come bail me out of jail. $3,000. My bail was set at because they picked me up on the warrant, but they also charged me with domestic violence. So my bail was set at like $30,000. So I got a 10% from my bail's bond and $3,000. She come and get me that night. She comes to get me that night. I'm
So what was
sorry.
the purpose of calling the police on you? Did yeah. This is why if you watch it, don't play them. One time
It's enough.
is enough. Don't play them
If they
police
do it
games.
once, they'll do it again. It can go all the way to no end,
Yeah.
and
So
you in jail.
so $3,000. I end up going to that court date. There's a no file because she didn't press charges and they ain't have no evidence to press charges on me at the stadium. She didn't want to mark on her. I want nobody was touching her, but she didn't press charges because nobody was touching her. She just wanted to use the police against me. So there was a no file. So you know what that mean? That mean I paid $3,000 for some bullshit. So I'm out $3,000. I end up saving my job, but another opportunity came up. I get a job in another place over. One day we arguing. At this time the baby's born. The baby's here. We arguing. She takes me to work.
So she didn't calm down once she had him. Like it didn't like. And I know this may
Wh-
sound like
Like
a
the
crazy
motherly
question
senses.
because we know that don't it just be temporary, but it wasn't a period where it was like happy once the baby was
Yeah,
born. It was
yeah.
like maybe y'all could a new beginning, you know what I'm saying? Maybe let's just try to work it out. Cause again, a pregnant woman can be a little
Yeah.
Yeah.
irrational and emotional and all these things. So now the baby's born, and we still know that postpartum can happen after that, which some women just use it as an excuse. But I'm just trying to see, like, at what point was it happy for you to just continue to keep going through this stuff?
Well, part of it, the motivation of having a son, and she was a beautiful girl. We was gonna have a beautiful baby, and she was making strides at that time after she came back. Those things happen, and I was a little care. I was more than caring, a little more than caring to her trauma, and trying to be understanding and trying to
So
show
you were
her.
making excuses for her
Yeah,
and
definitely.
looking at the bigger picture in terms of just wanting to be a good father, be a good,
Yeah,
be a family, so to speak.
yeah, and
So let
and,
me
and
ask you
be
this. Let me ask you this. Did you grow up with the family in the household with your
I had
both
a
parents?
stepfather. I had a stepfather majority of the time. I didn't meet my father till I was 22. But so that was a big fact. That was a big factor for me too. Is that it's funny. I remember talking to my mom about it. While all this was going on, telling my mom, it's like, Mom, I know that at other times I've been an asshole, and I know that with my daughter, I didn't play the game completely right. You know what I mean? I could have done better. And in this scenario, I feel like I'm doing everything right with this person, and it's not going the way I planned. But I refuse to let my son grow up without his father. And I felt like that maybe I could be the one to show her that this is how a man is supposed to act and be a provider and be a lover and be understanding. and it just wasn't resonating. That's what I was saying. Like, I she dropped me, the baby's here. So after that last incident, uh the child is born. But I mean, after the last incident, up until the child was born, she was very uh remorseful that she had done that. And it was like night and day. It was like, okay, I'm in it. I don't want to do that to him again. I sat her down and said, look, you called the police on me multiple times. They never help. It only makes things worse. Let's just stop doing that. Let me walk away. Don't push my buttons. I won't try to push your buttons. You need to be healthy. We need to, like, be calm. And so
Right.
for those final months and shortly after the baby, everything was cool. But in her mind, I don't know if it was postpartum or her divisive nature, she just wasn't settled and happy. And um, she dropped me off at work one day and with my son, and I kissed him goodbye and I'll see you later. And she looked me dead in my face and said, "Yup," and then went back to the apartment, packed a bag, stole about $2,000 out of my cash, and drove my Porsche to LA. And went to LA
Took your son, your money,
and my car.
and your car.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Man,
It's crazy.
that's three strikes right there. That's
It
three
was
things you don't do to a man.
it was crazy. Another crazy thing is I had just bought her a dog. I had bought her a puppy, a little Shih Tzu, before the baby was born because I was telling her, because I've already been through this. I'm like, you really don't know what's about to happen. And while a puppy isn't a child, the similarities and how much you have to tend to a puppy is going to be what's coming with this child. So I was
He was giving her practice.
straight up, and I was
That's
like, I'm like, plus it's a puppy too. So you thinking like, oh, it's cute, whatever.
yeah, yeah.
And so I felt like, this was another little thing. You could bring a little joy into your world because you got this little puppy that's gonna love on you. Uh, and she just was lax with the puppy. I ended up taking care of the puppy, but she took the puppy too when she left. And she called me,
Man,
and she was in a women's abuse shelter. And I said, you're a disgrace to every woman that's actually been beat because you ain't getting beat. I've been taking care of you. I was taking care of the girl since I met her. And she never had to worry about nothing. And now you down there telling them lies so you can get some help and some assistance. And you don't want that either. This is another episode. She ended up leaving the shelter and going to stay with some friends of hers in LA and started
All
stripping
with
them
your
up.
baby. All this
All of them,
bouncing around. How old is he at this time?
probably about 4 to 6 months around that time.
wow.
But started staying with some friends, and at the time, I was trying to transition from Sonoma to Napa because I didn't have a car, and it's 30 minutes to get to work. So I actually had shut my lease down in Sonoma, and a friend of mine in Napa let me come stay with him
So
rent
how long
free.
was she gone?
She was gone for quite some time. She left. She left when he was about 4 months. If I want to say, well, I think it was around 4 months. He was about 4 months old, and she went down there, and she was gone for like 2 months down there. And then when the incident happened, when she got jumped, she ended up being in the hospital. Mind you, I don't know where my son at. Who she got him? She out there wild.
What?
She calls me and tells me that the girl that she was staying with is kicking her out because she found a new place to live and she doesn't want to pay the girl. She wants the girl to give her money back for the month that had just started because she's not going to be there the whole month. So I had her put me on the phone with the girl. And the girl at first didn't want to be on the phone with me. And I said, hey, I'm just trying to talk to you because I know how Jennifer can be. Oh, I'm sorry. I know how she can be. Um, I say, I say, I know how she can be. Um, Tell me what's going on. And the girl told me, and I said, well, hey, you can't ask for your money back, and this girl's doing you a favor, and you just got to go to the next spot. So I had a friend in Los Angeles, a homegirl that I called the homegirl up. I said, hey, my son down there with his mom, and she done got into some shit. Can you let them stay there for a little while. Call my mom on the other phone. My mom lives in Michigan, and I'll tell you, hey, mama, um, Jennifer. I mean, she done did the thing again, and she got my boy out there, and I need you. I need you. And she said, what do you need? And I said, I'm gonna fly her out, and they're gonna stay with you until I get the new spot, and then I'm gonna fly them back.
So
And
why didn't you never call the police on them for
I
taking your
did.
car?
Oh, I did. I did. So
Mm,
the thing was about the car is that I had a suspended license at the time,
mm,
so I had transferred the title over her name, so that
got
if
you.
I did get pulled over, she could get the
Yeah,
car out if they took the
yeah.
car, because they took the car. It was multiple times that I was driving, and they took and I'm like, my girl could just come get the car. It's her car, you know, and they're like, nope,
Mhm.
we know what's going on, and I was
Yeah.
like, all right, yeah, well, whatever. Take the car. She would go get the car. Um, um, she so the homegirl lets her come. Now I think at this time I had already got my car back. Something happened where she where she had came back for a stint and then jetted again or whatever. I might have missed one part of it, whatever. But she don't got the car right now. But
So
the
she
so
never went to stay with your mom.
so yeah, so she went stay with my mom. She went stay with my mom for about 3 months, and then I got my new spot, and I told her, I told her, I said, when I want to get settled, you cool with my mom, whatever. My mom is the nicest lady on the planet for that. It said you cool with my mom. Let me get settled, and then I'll fly you back out. And she was rushing me. I said, well, listen, you come back, but you got to promise me we're not getting the police involved. We're not getting the police involved. And she said, "Yeah, I promise I'm not going to call the police. I'm not trying to be like that. I just want a new start, want a fresh start." And by this time, I've been up here for uh, a little over a year now, so I'm really making a good name for myself at the place that I work and around town as a good bartender and a
Her
good person.
hometown that
Her
she
hometown.
running from. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Well, but again, that's what I think that bothered her in a way, because she felt so outcasted from her from her hometown. She didn't want to be there. She had the stigma on her, from her family issues and school issues and running off and all this different stuff. When she left, they don't know what she's doing, but on her Instagram and everything else, she looks like she's succeeding and living a life. So for her to have to come back to that and be normal, she couldn't
Not to
deal with.
mention, she probably thought you would be a little bit more needy and clingy in a sense and not prosper, even though you had been the one taking care of her all along. It's kind of like the envy part of it where you are doing exceptionally well, but ironically, it's just to be with her and your kid, right?
Yeah,
Not to be in competition with her or to, that's just some, like you said, a traumatic relationship type issue that she had with probably men because of what she had been through. But
yeah,
who who
Sad.
who wants to go through all these things back and forth once a baby is born?
Yeah. Like
yeah.
you had your baby from Cali to Michigan. Baby ain't even
All
been
for
here a
what?
year.
Oh,
All for what?
it gets worse. Oh,
Oh, don't tell me that. All
it
right,
gets
let's
worse.
go.
It gets worse before it gets better. I do. I thank you, Jesus. I have a wonderful segue to what I want to say will be uh 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 a winning story, or what's the word, with a happy ending to all of
A
this.
victory,
A
right?
victory. A
Yeah.
victory is upon us. But she comes back in the first like month. She comes back, she's back on that bullshit again. And I'm loving her being there and my son, having time with my son and stuff, but she is worse than she was when she left. And by this time I got a name in so many different restaurants out here that I literally tell her, you can walk into one of these restaurants and say, this is my fiance or boyfriend or whatever, and he told me that you guys should hire me, and they would have hired her. But she wanted to go all out and do her own thing and figure everything else out. And she ended up calling the police on me again. After she came home drunk one night because
Mm, mm, mm.
she got up with some people in town and was running around, and we had broken up. There's nothing came of that time. We had broken up, and so we were living in the same place, but like, we weren't staying in there a lot because remember I still got the homie that lets me stay at his house, so I was giving her the space, but I was coming over there and making sure that I had time with my son, and then she
Let me
did get.
ask you this before you go on.
Hmm.
Was it an issue that she wanted to continue stripping and you didn't want her to?
Yeah, it was. But she had taken up
In the
other jobs.
hometown as well, or just like
Well, there's no clubs here, so she would have to go to San
wanted to go?
Francisco to do it.
Okay.
So that was alienated in the beginning. That was not even an option in the beginning because she didn't have anything when she came back. She was coming back from my mom's and she was like super dependent on me. So she was playing house for a little bit, to like try to get on her feet or whatever. Um, but it all unraveled very, very fast. Um, and also when I'm out here in California, if someone lives stays with you for more than like 2 weeks or a month or so, the property managers and the landlord, they say it's for insurance purposes that they need to be on the
Lease.
lease.
Yeah.
So once I had to put her on the lease, and also they got the squatting laws that protect people. Once she was there for more than 3 days, and then I had to put her on the leash. She was locked in. I
Yeah.
couldn't do nothing about it to get her out if I wanted to. So she was using that against me as well. But she was causing problems again, and I wasn't staying there as much, and I started dating other people. We actually went viral on TikTok. Um, because she was mad. I hadn't. Like, she didn't want me at the house, so I was staying away from the house. And one of her girlfriends called her. I wasn't even. I wasn't even. I had no real interest in this other girl. But one of her friends saw me out with some girl, and the friend calls her and says, "Yo, Jesse's out here with whoever. And what are you doing?" She's at home with the baby. She pulls up. She pulls up. She still got the ring at this time. She pulls up. She makes a scene. She throws my ring at me. Uh, me and the
A
girl leave.
second time.
Me and the girl leave the bar. We go to another bar, and we just sitting there like talking about it. Like, oh man. And what's crazy is the girl was more of a friend to me than anything. I was actually venting to her about my situation. And we put up to the next bar, and I see them walking in. I'm like, oh, we got to go. I said, I think this is the sign we can win this little night or whatever. And so as we're walking out, she comes out and she's filming us, and she's like, "Oh, that's what you're doing. Your son's at home." And I'm like, "Where is the baby?" Because I was out. I wasn't there. I didn't leave the baby to be anywhere. So where is the baby right now? You know? She ain't had no answer. Then she goes on TikTok, posts a video with a caption that says, "Queen, this is your sign to leave him." And that boy did that John did 1.2 million in 14 hours.
Mm, mm,
And
mm.
I had to call her to take it down because the girl, it's a small town. She was working at like one of the 5-star restaurant Michelin star restaurants out here, and she was like, people from my work are calling me. And we
Yes.
wouldn't even cut like that. So it was like I had to call her and tell her to take it down. Like, that's not the type of attention I want. That's not what I want to go viral for. And it's false anyways. People just believe anything they see on the internet. And you got me out here looking like the deadbeat. You know what I mean? When I'm
Mm-hmm.
fighting with you to be a father.
And
Not
I was
that's
gonna ask you, how was you seeing your son when y'all were separate? How was that? Like
Well, she did end up getting a job. That's how she knew the girl that ended up calling her. She ended up getting a job at a golf course. So when she was and two, I was staying away from the house kind of to protect myself as well because she was calling the police
yeah.
every other time. So one night she came home drunk when I from work because we would swap. I'd be there with the boy, she'd be there with the boy. And one night she came home drunk and I had just ordered DoorDash. I'll never forget this. I had just ordered DoorDash, and she comes home drunk, and I hear somebody outside the door, and I think it's my DoorDash, but it's her. My DoorDash had already came. She eating my cheeseburger, and
Mm.
so I
What?
yeah, so
She
so I
was
gr-
ruthless.
so I grab my burger. I grab my burger out her hand, and I go to like get ready to leave, and she grabbed my keys again. And now I'm trying to get we struggling with my keys. I end up did get my keys that time, but she calls the police again. But I leave. So I leave and I go and I take my car and I park some over at another homie's house, and I go stay at the homie's house, and
At
then
this point, the police department should know her by now. They should
Exactly.
know her
yeah,
routine.
this
Like
is
they
crazy
should know
though.
y'all by name.
This is crazy though. Look, so I go and I go and I go and I stay away for a couple days. She texts me the next day after that and says, "I work tomorrow at such and such a time. Will you be here?" And I say, "Yeah, I'll be there." And so I showed up, took care of my boy, and then she didn't come home after work. So after that, she came home drunk again, and we get to arguing. And I also have another video of that. I was actually gonna send it before we got on here, but I'll send it after
Please
this.
do.
But when but at this point now, because I know she called the police last time, I'm recording. So
Most definitely. Smart man.
what's crazy though, I wish I could find the video. I was on Instagram Live. I don't know if it's still in my archives or whatever, but I'm on Instagram Live, and for some reason I accidentally hit the clown emoji face. So when the police come to the door and I'm holding up the camera, they all got clowns on their face. So
An
yeah,
accident. You
yeah.
know you gotta choose the emoji,
So
so you
look,
hit that
no,
on
I swear to
purpose.
God, I swear to God, no, I swear to God, because I was playing with it with my son earlier, and I was putting it on his
Oh,
face.
okay.
I got picture
Okay.
proof of my son with the clown emoji on his face.
Got you.
But what happened when she called the police this time? She was on the other side in my kitchen. I had an island, so she's on the other side of the island, and I'm at the front door, and I'm recording her, and she's on the phone with the dispatch. He's attacking me. He won't let me leave. He's attacking me. Please come. And I got it on video. So when the cops come, every time they show up for something like this, they really at the defense. They're not like being nice to me. They looking at me like I'm a
Yeah.
dickhead.
Yeah.
So it's a female cop. It's some tough guy, Hispanic dude, trying to like, I just didn't like his demeanor, and I don't hold my mouth for them. And then it's a older white dude. And so I told the tall Hispanic dude, I said, bro, you need to switch your energy because I'm not the problem. And y'all hear it, it's cool, hear the story, but I got it on tape. He goes like, oh, you got a video? I said, yeah. So I show him the video. I said she was lying to dispatch and all that, yada yada. So the white dude comes out with the girl because they go check on her, make sure everything's cool. She telling the story. He got already in his file about the night before. But the night before she put up like 7 different allegations. They charged me with kidnapping, domestic violence, endangerment of a child, and like 4 other felonies. And he said to me, the white dude comes out, looks at the film. He's sergeant or whatever. He comes out, looks at the film. He says, "All right, well, all right, just whatever. I got to tell you, I'm gonna call in there, and if the other night is filed, I'm gonna have to take you. But I'm not gonna take you for what you did tonight. I'm gonna take you for what she said you did the other night, because it's filed, and there's nothing I can do about that." And he said,
What?
and you weren't here to plead your case. And I said, so you mean to tell me I don't even have to be here, and she can just call you and say whatever she wants to say, and say I left, and you gonna charge me with it next time you see me?
Yep.
And they did. And they not only did that, but they put an article in the paper about it with my whole thing, blasting my whole
Wow.
thing in the local
Wow.
paper before I ever was charged with anything. And guess what happened to those charges? I'll give you one guess.
I hope they got dropped if
They
you
was
didn't say.
dropped. They was
Okay.
dropped. Nothing ever came. Nothing ever came. And guess what she did after that? She ran away again. Took my boy again. Ran away
Mm.
again.
Wow.
So that time she did that, she was only gone for like a couple weeks. So the next time she come back, I told her she couldn't stay at my house. I said, I don't care what you do. You can go strip. You can go do whatever you want, but he's staying here, and you gotta go.
So I
And
know you said you were dating,
and
and was she?
um, I mean, I don't know. It's like Cat Williams said, liars going. I don't know why liars lie. They just lie. So I don't believe nothing the liar says. I was at
Hmm.
the point at that time where I didn't care what she said. I didn't believe anything that came out of your mouth. I've watched you lie to so many people. I don't
I was just
discussion.
curious because
Yeah, no.
the way she just ups and leaves every time, like
Yeah. Well, she's a
sometimes
very
that it could possibly be a reason or some help to the
well.
side
She's
that
a
you may not know about. So I was just wondering.
well. No, she's a very attractive girl. So it wasn't
Wouldn't
hard
be
for her
hard,
to
yeah.
So
at all.
let me
When
ask
I
you
went.
this: did you ever get a DNA test? Oh, I mean the
No, you got to see.
paternity
No,
test.
no, I didn't. But like I said, the timing lined up, and if you see my boy, you know, and I know that might sound crazy, delusional, or whatever. But no, like I haven't done that. I mean I could, but I think it's
So
pretty
for the
solid.
court process, you didn't do it, or they didn't
Well,
suggest it.
this was my thing is when she went and had the baby, they asked me if I wanted it, right? And I told her that if he wasn't gonna have my last name, then I wanted the test. But to me, all this, everything that needed to line up for me to know that it was my son and me be confident in that was lining up. She didn't even have access to do those type of things. Those would be small windows, and I don't know where they would come from. And for my son to look as much like me as he does, and being the percentile that he's in, like I'm 6'8". You know what I
Well,
mean?
we're not saying that your son ain't yours, but all the
Yeah,
reasons that you giving, we done heard people give them same exact reasons, and it wasn't their baby.
yeah, no
I
doubt,
mean,
no
you
doubt.
just never can know
Yeah.
until you get that that test. But if you confident it's your baby, it's your baby. It's your baby
Yeah,
anyway, right?
yeah.
It's yours.
At this point,
It's yours.
all this
So,
fighting.
we don't really have to go there, but just in terms of you saying that you did have doubts, her behavior, the court process, we always just like to
Yeah,
ask people, is that something that you had done? But for your
yeah,
case, not.
yeah. No, I didn't. I mean, I have thought about it, but I just the window just don't. You know what I mean?
So get us to that. Like she left again. Like, so where are you now? Like, where are we today? What's going on? How long ago was this where she left and ran off again to the point that you are seeking custody?
so at one of those points, she had left, and she had left without him and was gone. And a girl had messaged me and was like, I know a girl on Instagram had messaged me and said, I know your baby mama, and she's doing sex work. And she was like, I
Whoa.
know, and she was like, I know that you have your son right now, but she's planning on coming back and taking him. So she gave me the heads up that she was coming back, and sure enough, like a day later, she shows up at my door, walks in the house, and I'm cussing her out. I ain't gonna hold you up. I told her to get the fuck out of my house. I'm laying on the couch with my son, and I hear like something happening at the door, and I look to the door, and it's like a folder. Somebody slid a folder in between the seam of the door, and it was a locksmith. And she called a locksmith to bust open my door. And I'm holding my baby on the couch, so I had put my son down in the pack and play. And soon as the door pop open, it's her and two Mexican dudes from the locksmith. Nah, I actually have a video of them walking away, like me, like that's what you're doing, you busting in people's house and yada yada. But I didn't get it that initial thing. But either way, I just was filming everything because in the court of law, like this
Yeah.
is
You
going to
got
work
you
for me.
got the burden of proof.
Yeah. So she ended up calling the police that day. I told them when they came over, they know by now, and the same old white dude came, and he was like, I know she's using the system against you right now, but it's nothing we can do. She's on the leash.
That's true.
She
That's
can be
true.
here, and you can't tell her she can't. And luckily this time she's not saying you hit her. She's just saying she wants to get her things and go. They not only put me in handcuffs and let her roam around my house freely, they drove her to her next destination
Hmm.
and to not be seen for another year and a half.
With the
And
baby?
with the baby. And she was calling me and sending me pictures and talking to me and whatever and wouldn't tell me where she was at. I ended up getting a DUI in Napa. So I had to go, and wet and reckless, technically. That's what they charged me with. So with that, I had to do 6 days in jail. So up until that point, I had been talking to her every other day, and she put me on the phone with my son. I'm screen recording the phone calls just so that when I go back to court, I can tell them whatever she says she's lying because she's been in contact with me, yada yada. But she won't tell me where she is. But I got a visual of where
Did she
she
have a
is.
protective order on you?
Not yet. I'm getting there.
Okay.
Um, um,
Mm-mm.
so I got a visual of where she's at. I go to jail. My bunkie tells me the first day. He says, "How do you not know where she is if she's sending you pictures and calling you?" And I said, "I don't, because she ain't telling me." He said, "Download the picture she sends you. It's gonna show you the location of where the picture is." This boy was next level. It's gonna show you the location, and boom, there she is. So I did that as soon as I got out. And I haven't. And so I was only in there for six days. They only put me in there for a week. So the day I got out, so I'm in there 6 days. On the day before I went, I talked to her. She was in the same spot. I'm talking FaceTime. I know where she at. The day I got out, I download the picture, find the location. I gotta go to work. My work was cool with me being gone, so I didn't lose my job or nothing. I go to work that week. I tell them I need an extra day off next week. So that week after I was going, this probably 12, 14 days, since I know she's in the spot, I go. She's in Vegas. I go to Vegas, pull up to this shitty ass apartment complex and spot off the apartment. I call the police. Police come. I say, I need you guys to do a wellness check on this apartment. I have a feeling that my son and his mother are in there, and I don't think that it's a good living situation.
Hmm.
There's a girl and a trans man in there at the time that she was living with, which I ain't no shade to them, whatever they do,
Right.
what they want to do. But I don't know them, and you leaving my son with them. You know,
Exactly.
they could be aliens for all I care. So police go in there, and they because they got to let them in. Police go in there, and he says, I see her a bunch of her stuff and a bunch of your son's stuff, so she got to be coming back. He says, I do this every day for you if you want me to. I said, thank you. Takes number. Uh, I go back. My girlfriend, I have a girlfriend at the moment. She was with me. She drove with me. She a soldier. I love this girl. She don't she could keep her. Uh we
Y'all still together to this day?
Me and my girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not the baby mama. Me and my girlfriend. My girlfriend
Yeah,
being
yeah.
here for we've been together about 2 years now.
So
Uh,
pause. A whole year and a half, did you have a downward spiral where you just was like, I need a break from this stuff. Let me
oh
get myself together before I try to pursue this, because it had been so much from the time he's
yeah,
been born up until this point, you going back and forth to jail, all the things
yeah.
you did. Because of course everybody is gonna want to know, why did you allow it to go on for so long before you did anything about it?
Oh no,
So
I
that's
was
what I'm asking.
Oh no, I was super self-destructive. I was super depressed, drinking every day, not taking care of myself, sleeping in, never left the house, only left the house to go to work. When I didn't wake up, I would sleep until I had to go to work, and I would come home or go out and drink and then come home and sleep until I got to go to work. And that was my routine. And the girl that I'm with now is really the one who picked me up off the ground and said, you gotta do better. You gotta want more for you and you gotta want more for your son. And I'm so thankful for her and for that because uh I wouldn't have the strength to do all of this without somebody like her in my ear and holding me down when I couldn't do it. And yeah, she was the main one saying, pick yourself up, put yourself together, and get after it. And I just didn't have a I didn't have I would call the police. I would call the police and say, hey, I ain't seen them in a month. I ain't seen them in 2 months. I ain't seen them in 3 months. I don't know where they are. In California, when you don't have a custody agreement,
Order,
if you have
yeah, they
equal,
don't do anything.
well, no, but you have equal rights as parents,
Mm.
and so I'm like, how do I put out? Can I put out a missing persons? can you guys try to contact her? All of the above, and they were no help. So, but when the thing in Vegas happened the last time, the cop was like, "I'll help you." But what happened? She Her friend called the police. Her friend called her and said, "Jesse just brought the police over here," and and um and so she texted me and said, "Why you causing drama? He's fine." She sends me a picture. He's fine. We haven't lived there in over a month. And I'm like, I just talked to you 2 weeks ago when you was here. Why stop lying? And I said, I'm with the police right now. The picture you sent me is from 2 days ago. I need to know that he's alive and well right now, wherever you're at, whatever he's doing. Send me a picture of him right now. She did. She hadn't caught on yet. That's how I caught. That's how I got her.
Right.
So the first picture was at a playground. The second picture was at a house around the block from the playground, but it was in Utah. And I turned to my girlfriend and I said, "Babe, she's in Utah now." And she said, "What's the address?" And she looked up the address. She said, "It's 2 hours away. We didn't drive to Vegas for nothing. Drove all the way to
See my
Utah."
kind of people.
Okay.
Sound like somebody I know sitting right here. Cause
I love her.
kudos to her. Kudos to her.
For
Big
sure.
Yes.
ups to her for that.
She said we ain't drive to Vegas. We ain't drive to Vegas for nothing. So we drove out to Utah, pull up on the house. I go knock on the door. They got a little ring camera and the blinds was open. So I look in the window. I can't see nobody in the living room. I go to the ring camera. I say, "Hey, I'm looking for." I got a picture of her and my son on my phone. I say, "Hey, I'm looking for my son and my and a girl named Jennifer." And the lady behind the door is like, "Oh no, nobody's here by that name." I said, "Well, I just got a picture sent to me from this house a couple hours ago that says they're here. But don't worry, the police are on the way." Because I had already called the police. So when the police pulled up, I said, "I needed y'all do a wellness check at this house. I think my son and and his mother is in there." And they went and they looked, and she was in there. And they said, "Well, we can't force you to come out because you guys don't have a custody agreement." I said, "Well, that's the reason why. I want to know that my son's healthy. How you guys was in the house for less than 5 minutes? How do you know he's got a place to sleep? How do you know that he's eating properly? How do you know that there's enough space?" There was three other people. There were three other grown-ups and like four other kids at this house. And I looked up the house on Zillow. It was only a two-bedroom house. You know what I mean? So like where all these people sleeping? And how do you know that my son, did you check his body? Do you know that if he has bruises, what are you talking about? He said, "Well, that our wellness check is just to see that the living situation is comfortable and that your child looks healthy, and he looks healthy and the living space is comfortable. But I got to tell you something, you're trespassed on the house. If you come back here, we'll arrest you." And I said, "Damn, that's what we're doing." He's like,
Cold
"Yeah, so
blooded.
you and your girlfriend got to leave, and we're gonna follow you out." So I leave. I go home. I'm infuriated. But what I do know is that the court in Napa told me, if I have her address, they would serve her. They would serve her. They would let me file the paperwork to get her served, and then I could just hire a private investigator to serve her. So I come back to Napa, and I'm at work, and a lady comes in, my security comes and gets me and says, "Hey, Jess, there's a lady here to see you. I think she's here for a job. She's got an envelope in her hand." And I say, "Okay, cool, send her in." So the lady comes in, she goes, "Are you Jess? Are you, whatever?" And hands over the paperwork and goes, "You've been served." And I go, "Oh, great, I've been waiting for this." Because I'm thinking she want to get it done. So it's family court paperwork. Nope, it's a restraining order. So
Mm, mm, mm.
So I filed a paperwork for the family court, and which I'm glad she didn't file the family court paperwork in Utah, because of what
You
ultimately
would have had
happened,
to fight there.
I would have to fight there. So what ultimately happened was I ended up filing the paperwork in Utah, and she had to show up to court, where I'm at now. But what but
Wait, which paperwork did you file in Utah? Because I know the
well
protective order was
what
for Utah, right?
Yeah, yeah. So what ended up happening was I went to court Zoom for the protective order, and then and I didn't fight it. I already knew what the allegations she had brought up. She showed that paperwork for the newspaper, and I didn't have time to fight. I didn't have time to worry about that. You in Utah, I'm not a threat to you, and they're not coming to get me.
Right.
So
That's why I don't even know why they gave it to her. If
I don't even know why they gave it to her, but
y'all what two states?
I don't know why they gave it to her, but she ended up hiring a trash lawyer. Her lawyer was trash. She didn't even need a lawyer to do what she did because I ended up filing the paperwork for family court, and I got like 17 to 20 character reference letters. I got one from a psychologist. I got one from some of the premier businesses in Napa, and I got a whole file of log of when we was in communication and all the different moves she did and all the lies she told, and everything is chronological, and I got like a pamphlet of stuff that I submitted to the courts. They didn't care
It's
about none of that.
definitely necessary. You was well
It's necessary.
prepared.
But they didn't care. What they ended up saying was
I was just gonna say that.
she's in Utah now. She's got a restraining order on you, and and me, by the fault of me not knowing what I should be filing for. That's why y'all posted today about knowing the difference between filing
Legal
for
and
legal,
physical
and
custody.
I wish I would have knew that. I know it now, but that's so helpful to people like me, or not as far along as me, to know
Mhm.
the differences. Because had I known the difference, I was just filing on pure frustration. So I filed for full joint and legal. I mean, full physical and legal.
Yeah. When you
Where
know they're not gonna just snatch
and they
a kid
Yeah.
from their mom like that just
exactly.
because
So
you want that. No.
exactly. And so if I would have been thinking more wisely, I would have filed for joint and
Yes.
played my cards there and then moved on to the full
The
future, because what she's ultimately going to do is show her true colors. And
Right.
right.
Most
so
definitely.
Right.
so
Smart man.
what happened was we would go to court for the custody, and they kept having to put stuff off because at first she didn't have a lawyer, and then she wanted a lawyer, and then she changed her phone number. And I called the police in Utah, and I said, hey, she changed her phone number. I can't get a hold of her to know what's going on with my kid, and I don't know who she's with. I think this might have some other influence going on, because we were communicating fine, and she was letting me know what was going on with my son, and I just want to know what's going on with my son. And the police mocked me, and he goes, oh, my son's mother changed her phone number, poor me. And I was like, bro,
Yeah, they
well, I
can't
need
do
your
nothing
name and your
about it.
I need your name and badge number, because well, he can't do nothing about it, but he ain't need to mock me
Yeah,
about it.
Mhm.
he
What I
definitely
No, no
wasn't professional.
professionalism.
what I was
Mhm.
saying
But
was
man, we run into that a lot. I'm glad you just brung that point up
that
because
was
that's
wild. I said,
yeah.
man, if I said, I hope I come back and see you, because I'm gonna tear some shit up. And he said, I hope you do come back and tear some shit up, because I'm gonna arrest you. I said, I'd be glad to go to jail with you. And so and so and so what ends up happening is one day after court, she calls me from her new number. And so after she did that, I would call her periodically and be like, yo, like, talk to me. I want to know what's going on with our son.
Do
Like,
you still have the restraining order?
still had a restraining order. And
You was
so,
violating
You was
that order,
violating that
so you was
order.
risking it
oh,
all.
oh yeah, check it out, check it out. So the police called me one day, and he says, hey, you can't your son's mother has called us and told us you've been contacting her, and that's a violation of your restraining order. And I said, I know. I said, but you do know she changed her number, right? And he says, yeah. I said, well, how do you think I got her number? And he said, but still, that's a violation of restraining order. And I said, well, at what point do we hold her accountable for violating the restraining order? Because doesn't she have certain restrictions with this restraining order? And it was like, it's not that easy. It's not as simple as she can't call you or whatever the case may be. You have to
It
prove
is that
that.
simple.
Well, he was saying something totally different. But look, so I said I don't care about that restraining order. I'm not a threat to her, and y'all not coming to get me. If y'all got a problem, come get me. I'm gonna keep calling. So I kept calling. I was at this point I'm just ignorant and I'm just aggravated and angry. And I'm not saying that my actions are right. I know fully and wholly that
They
my
They
actions
definitely
definitely
were
are
not
not.
not
right.
right.
I know
We want all everybody watching to know
what
that
I'm
if you
saying
have
is
any type of restraining order, protective order, do not
what I'm saying
do
it
the
is
would
things you were
what
doing.
Come
What I'm
on, Jay
saying is,
Will.
it had none. It had nothing to do with her, and everything to do with knowing about the safety and the wellness of my son. And I
But
know.
still, it's
It could
not
have. It
worth
could
it
have. It
because
could
it
have
could have
cost you.
jeopardized you.
It
So,
could have cost
You
you.
so
know,
every.
the reward ain't as big as the problem. And so
So,
before
but
you
listen, every.
continue, because we
Oh
got to
yeah,
touch on this for real. Like this is why people watch, because we don't want people to make the same mistakes. We want
yeah,
them to do better based off your story. And I just
yeah.
want to say, somebody like you who was used to going to jail, you getting into it with police officers telling them that you don't care about being locked up. I don't know if everybody like that. So they should not take on your way of thinking in terms of it's just about my kid when it's a protective order involved, because it can really do way more damage
Yeah.
than
Yes, ma'am.
so
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
But so from that though, because I was foolish and I didn't stop calling. Every time I called, and she would call the police and tell them that I called, this same officer would call me, and I ended up establishing a kind of a rapport with this officer.
A bad
And
rapport.
yeah, and he was kind of giving me lightweight advice.
Mm.
And at one point, I told him, I said, you know what? I'm gonna take your advice. I'm gonna stop calling her because I know that she's gonna do similar things that she did here, and she'll be back. And no more. And I'm prayed up. I'm prayed up, and
Gotta
I
be.
and I started to ask God to give me the guidance and the restraint to not call her when I have those urges, and to show me a way, and that I would give this and that if I could just see that glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel. And lo and behold, one day I'm sitting on my couch. Me and my girl was sitting on the couch watching a movie, and my phone rings, and it's the baby mama, and she says, I need you to meet me in Vegas tonight. It's about 6 p.m. my time at when she called. And I said, and it was my day off. And but I've been up all day. I hadn't been really doing nothing. We was kind of just lounging around, but I had been up all day. And I'm like, you want me to meet you in Vegas tonight and drive 9 hours from Vegas to Napa? I can't do it tonight. She said, well, when can you do it? And who do you live with? And what's your situation? And I said, well, my girl, we live together. And she's like, oh, let me call you back. She thought that I was gonna just welcome her back in like I did every other time before. So she calls me back and says, well, I need to come. So I said, well, where are you gonna stay? She's like, I have a friend close to town that's gonna let me stay, and if not, I'll just go stay with my mom. And she said, I'll drive to the airport and pick you up from the airport. I said, I can't do it tonight. I'll do it in the morning though. So in the morning, I booked a flight and flew down to Vegas to pick her and my son up, and drove 9 hours back to Napa with her. And I asked her to keep him that night, but she was like, she had to go to her mother's house, and she didn't want to tell her mom immediately that she was allowing me to have a relationship in this, because she turned her parents against me and all that, and made it seem like
I was gonna
I'm a
ask you that
problem.
because they was all
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah. Well, her mom was the main. Remember, her mom is just as crazy as she is. Her mom got her father deported, like
Yeah.
literally got him exiled from the country. So that love that she had for me only lasted for so long, and especially after she found out she was pregnant, she was trying to get custody of the baby. She wanted us to be our own self destruction so that she could take the child. There was a moment in time where her mom was like trying to convince her daughter to let her have the child.
Man,
And
that's
so
crazy. So what
yeah,
did your girlfriend think about you going and
Yeah,
picking her up?
I was trying to wait till y'all got to it because I was gonna say
Look at she was
again,
over there itching.
moving
she
like
she
ants
was
in
she,
my damn pants, because there's no
yeah,
way
yeah,
I
well
would have ever agreed to that.
she didn't necessarily like it, but she's been my biggest supporter, and she knows how much my son means to me. So she wasn't going to stand in the way of me being able to bring my son back into
I
my
mean, I
life.
guess y'all had a plan. If
Yeah.
I think about it, like from a strategic standpoint, but I just wouldn't have trusted her enough to send. Like I just would have thought it would have been some bullshit. Like
Yeah.
that's what
No,
I'm
she
saying.
she
Like
had those. Do y'all want to hear from her? She over here eavesdropping. she had all those thoughts. She was not happy about it at all, but she knew the end result was better than
To get them
the
back,
yeah.
and y'all
And
playing, and y'all, so y'all have an even playing field, basically.
yeah, she trusted in me for the most part. I know she had her doubts, but she trusted me.
Well,
She
you
you
ain't the
know
one we would have been worried about.
yeah, oh yeah, but yeah, me going to jail or her setting me up or something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah, she had those thoughts too. But yeah, she ended up she was okay with it. She you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Um
I get it. I get it. We get it.
So
so then once she came back with my son, it was on. It was 3, 4, 5 days a week. She get your life together. We got it. She drop him off. She go do whatever. I didn't care what she was doing. Go do it. Just leave my boy. And
mhm.
and one of the first things we did, I set up a trip to the zoo. And so when I set it up, baby mama wanted to act like, oh well, I don't know about just letting them be with you alone right now. And I'm like, I don't know what you got in your head with this game that you
What you
playing. That
mean? He was
you
being
like you
alone with you when you was
he,
getting him. I
she
don't
he
just
said
know.
Vegas,
she has convinced
Utah.
herself of her own lies. So she's just like, I don't know. And I was like, well, you can come to the zoo, right? So me, my girlfriend,
Baby, you a
my
good one.
son, you heard me, baby. She said you a good one.
No, I'm talking about you. I'm not talking
Oh,
about
okay.
her. She
I
was
thought you
just
meant
being
because
supportive. It
oh yeah, shit.
initially it got to be your brain that cells
Yeah.
that start powering off and
Oh,
firing
Keep
up.
her
I'll do
away.
anything for my son though. I'll do anything for my son. So look though, me, my girlfriend, my son, the baby mama, and one of my boys, because we had to throw something in there to break up the weirdness of it. You know what I mean? Uh, we all went to the zoo. We went and picked him up. Well, no, we ain't went and picked him up. We went and met him at a restaurant. And when that boy got out the car and he seen me, and he just ran and be like, "Daddy," he ain't forget. He ain't miss a step. And it was amazing. And after that, we kept him. We kept him for a couple of days, and it's like, and then she went off and did her thing, and then from that point on, it was like 3 to 5 days a week. We had him while she did whatever. Like she tried to get a couple jobs. It didn't work. She don't know how to keep a real job, and so she ended up going back to what she was doing before. And at the time, my girlfriend was uh, not a caretaker, but assistant. She assisted a lady with like some mental illness and stuff like that. And so I don't know if that's why my son's mother said that that's what she was doing. She was a caretaker, but somehow, some way along the way, she decided that she was going to tell us her job was an overnight caretaking job, and that she was doing and so she needed us to take my son these certain days but at night. And most of at that time I was working at a spot where I worked most nights, but we was cool with it because I didn't go to work until late. So my girlfriend would take care of him during the night, put him to sleep and all that, and then in the day I'd have all day with him, so multiple days would happen and whatever. And she was never on time, never on a schedule, and we was asking her for a schedule multiple times. She never committed to a schedule, but we was just rolling with the punches because one, my energy and my everything was up. You know what I mean? Like I was walking around looking like Eeyore to bouncing around like Tigger once my son came back, and so everything was up and everything was good. And when I was first moved out here, I had a small 1 bedroom apartment, and probably about 700 square feet. And me and my girl, we moved into a bigger 1,100 square foot apartment with 2 bedrooms, so that my son could have his own space here. And I don't think she liked that because then it started to get weird. And maybe like it was around Halloween. It was right before Halloween. I wanted to take him for Halloween, but I had a thing going on at my job where we're throwing this party. So after the party, my son's mother dropped him off to me and my girl, and we got on matching Halloween costumes, and we had actually bought him one. I was Beetlejuice, she was Lydia, and we bought him the sandworm
And you thought
costume.
that was gonna be okay.
Well, no, 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 no. We didn't come
Speed.
out with the sandworm. I mean, I know. We didn't come out with the sand. We ain't had a sandworm costume waiting,
Oh
but
my God.
she dropped him off and saw us and was big mad, as one of my friends would put
You
it.
think?
Yeah. And so for the next couple of days, we had him, and we were supposed to have him for Halloween. Because in my apartment complex, there's 500 units in my apartment complex. They do a little Halloween candy thing, so we wanted to take him out for that. And she again was on the outs with her mom again. This happens all the time, so we didn't think she had any plans for him for Halloween. So we're like, we'll just keep him till Halloween. She wasn't having it. So then one day she tried to pick him up intoxicated. Like 2 days after, like a day before Halloween, she tried to pick him up. 2 days before Halloween, she tried to pick him up drunk. And we knew she was drunk because how she was sounding on the phone. And also because at this point, her and my girlfriend had established a relationship. They was being cordial with each other. Everything was cool. Sometimes I wouldn't even go to the pickup and drops off because I say 5 words to her and her face scrunch up. We can't get along.
Hmm.
And she just ignorant. So it's like if I'm saying logical things like, hey, did he have a pediatrician in Utah? Do you know what percentile he is? Can you get the paperwork so that I can get him a new pediatrician and we can make sure he's got everything that he needs? And what daycare was he going to and how far along
Yeah,
is he?
she knows what some of them questions was coming from, man.
Man, she
She
ain't
know she know
but
where they was
but
coming
she
from. She ain't
but
like that.
but she also don't got none of that stuff. You know what I mean?
That's true
She
too.
wasn't doing any of that. And at the time, we had put cameras all in the house, and she was trying to push my buttons one day, and I told her, I said, I just want you to know before you start on this thing that you do, you are being recorded. And she switched up quick. She was like, "Ah, well, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna get out of here." So what happened? She had a relationship with my girlfriend to where when she was coming to do the pickup and drop off, she would text her and we ain't got to talk. Y'all talk, figure it out. So she told my girlfriend, "Hey, get JoJo ready. I'm gonna come pick him up. Let's do a text." And so my girlfriend takes him down. We got an art room and a playground on my grounds at the thing. So she took him to the art room and she took him to the playground. She's down there for like 20 minutes, and then she calls the baby mama and goes, "Hey, are you coming?" And the baby mama's like, "What? You called me?" And she's like, what do you mean? You were supposed to be coming to get our son. I mean Josiah." And she was like, "You supposed to be coming to get the boy or whatever." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" She forgot. And then so my girl calls me and says, "Yo, she's on the phone and she sounds drunk. You need to call her and tell her she ain't coming to get him drunk like that." And so I called her and my girl recorded the conversation and she's screaming at me and telling us we're crazy. Do you want me to call the police? And I said, yes, please call the police. Please call the police and meet them at my house right now. And she was like, no, I'm not going to do that. But you can't tell me that I can't come get our son and I have custody and you don't and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, well, actually, neither one of us have custody. You just, we
Right.
still haven't, that hasn't been settled yet. But I'm like,
Right.
but you don't need to come get him intoxicated. I'm not going to release him to you intoxicated. And she's like, I'm not drunk. And then goes into this whole rant and thing and ended up wishing me dead about 3 or 4 times. Um, telling me, what is that?
So
Uh, telling me, wishing me dead, telling me how she's supposed to be happy. It's
so
crazy.
y'all
Got it
didn't
all on
y'all
recording.
so and that's the thing with this. So
Yeah.
like y'all, you and your girlfriend, y'all didn't think it was like no boundaries that need to be set because it seemed like she's too involved in y'all household at the
Yeah.
time when it came to these certain things, and it was like it was should I felt like it should have been the boundary set because it's
What
gonna
happened?
cause conflict.
What happened was, baby, what I think is that it seemed peaceful. So
We
Hmm.
was
it's
trying to
like,
keep the
oh,
peace.
we get a taste of the peace, so let's
Yes,
keep it.
ma'am.
But we all know, including us,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
cannot compromise with
Can't
crazy.
reason with
It's
crazy.
going to
Can't
only
read your
it's
crazy.
a temporary fix. Like all that
Yeah.
I hear throughout your entire story is that you just kept putting band-aids on a gaping wound. Like
This is
it's nothing that you could do to fix and solve and anything for my son, and we all feel like that until then what?
Till it
Because
get
Yeah,
bad.
she could pick up and run again.
yeah,
She running, she can do whatever she want. Without
she did.
those legal documents, you are never safe.
Yeah,
Nobody is safe in this game. So it's cool for now, and that can last for however long y'all keep doing what she like. Keep giving her way for a little bit until she get mad. Then what? And
well,
that's
yeah,
what your story is really, highlighting for everybody. It's just a bunch of you compromising and you trying to make it work and you giving her way, and she can leave and she could come back and it could be chaotic and she could throw you in jail and anything for my baby and anything for my baby. She literally used y'all son as a pawn. That's
yeah,
all I hear from this
Because she
story.
know that you would do anything for your son.
yeah. Well, she did run. She did leave again. She came to
Can't
pick
say
him
we ain't
up.
see that coming.
I know you called it. She said she called the next. She came to pick him up the next day and told me, "Good luck trying to see him. You might as well try to get supervised visitation." And we was going to the house that she was living in to pick him up, so we knew where she lived. So I did a welfare check. She moved out of the house that same day and wouldn't tell me where she was, and was still kind of communicating. But I was still kind of doing my research, trying to figure out, where she was at and what she was doing. She wouldn't say, but periodically I would go and look on her Instagram. And so one day, me and my girl was looking on her Instagram, and I noticed in her new followers that one of the girls that I know from around town that is a dancer was following her. And so I texted the girl, well, I DM'd the girl and I said, do you know this girl? Sent her a picture of my baby mama's DM. She said, yeah. And I said, oh, how do you know her? And she said, we work together. And I said, oh, well, where do you work? So she told me. And I said, well, do you know her dancer name?
Dancing,
And I
stripping.
said, yeah. I said, do you know her stripper name? And she says, yeah. She tells me the name. And so I went down
What?
to the family court, filed the paperwork, and asked the sheriffs to serve her. The sheriffs tried 6 times to serve this girl. They called her 6 times. I got the paperwork back. They stopped 9 days short of
the
the
the the time
the,
frame for the
the
hearing.
time frame,
Mm.
and then send me the paperwork and say, "Oh, we couldn't get it done. You're gonna have to hire a private investigator or something." So I just went and refiled the paperwork, and in the paperwork they sent me, this girl was literally telling the police, I'll get at it another time. I don't have time today, or I'll get." And I'm like, this is legal paperwork, and this is a sheriff. Why can't
Right.
you
How
just tell?
y'all allowing this?
Yeah,
Right.
how are you allowing this? And so I just took matters in my own hands. And one night I'm at work and my buddy came in to have a couple cocktails, and I called the strip club and I said, "Hey, is so and so working today?" And they said, "Yeah, she just walked in." And I turned to my boy and I said, "Hey, you wanna go to strip club?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm down." And I said, "But I need a favor." And so my girlfriend drove. We go out to the club. They go in together because if I walk in, the jig is up.
It's up.
She
Hmm.
po- she she points out who the girl is. My homeboy gets himself together because it's a lot going on. He gets himself together. He walks up to her. It's a full nude strip club too, by the way. Walks up to her, says, "Hey, you look pretty nice." Puts his arm around her. She says, "Oh yeah, what you trying to do?" He said, "Well, actually, you just got served. Court's on January 29th. Thank you very much. I will see you and have fun telling the judge where you were at. Can't wait." So that
It's
was
so
the
crazy.
So this January 29th coming up, that
yeah.
court. Oh
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
You gotta let us know
that's
what
our son'
happened.
birthday. So yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what's
no,
up,
no.
man.
It's
Man,
crazy
that's
because a lot of people, ask us about this, about
uh
creative ways, right, to serve people. Because we had a guy today, and I was telling him, listen, we've heard of people delivering flowers,
yeah,
Amazon packages, like you can get creative, but by
yeah.
far we have never heard of this way, and so
I
this
told
one
y'all,
this one going down for the book.
I stay prayed up, man. It's only by the grace of God that I found that out because it was just like I had reached the point of no return. I'm just like, she's
Yeah.
doing this again. I don't
So
know where
so
she is
so
again.
so did you didn't have to have a server or anything, right?
No, they
They
said I could do. They said I could. It could be anybody but me. It could be
Okay, and
So
anybody.
how can you report that back to the courts? Like, how do you give a citation
Oh, so
for
so
that?
so so once you do it, she receives the paperwork. She and according to them, she had to take the paperwork. Somebody else said you could just drop it, but I was told that she had to take it in her hand. That's why my girlfriend couldn't do it, because if my girlfriend would have walked up with the paperwork, she wasn't gonna take it. She
Right.
thought she was getting to dance, and the homie was like, no, here's your tip," you know, and she took it. And then it's a wrap. So then he just signed off on it, and he's going to show up to court and validate that he signed off on it. But we already went to mediation. So they set the mediation up for like I did it the day before my birthday. My birthday was just on Wednesday. So on the day before my birthday, I'm on the phone with him like the mediator, like, what do you want? And I said, I want full. But I didn't get full last time. It was unavailable to me. And I said, so I filed for joint. And the mediator was like, but no, what do you want? And I said, well, of course I want full. And she goes, hold on one moment, because they had us in separate rooms. And she goes and talks to the girl. And she said, and she comes back and she says, well, she's not agreeing to that. She wants full legal and
Physical.
physical.
You want
And
for a physical.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
probably best that you seek legal if you're gonna seek for a physical as well, because the legal part is important as well. Like, I know
yeah,
you just like, I want him with me, living with me doing
yeah,
all the day to day, but those legal
yeah,
uh
you won't be able to do nothing
exclusive
without her.
rights
yeah,
are really important, like passports,
Register for
yeah,
like
school,
schools, like
doctor's appointment.
medical information,
Yeah.
right? So if like a person, and not to say that this will ever happen, right?
yeah,
But if it comes a time where someone's on life support and you want to make the decision to pull the plug, and they want to just let them be on, like, that's a type of legal battle that can happen if your ducks ain't in order. So that's why,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, the mediator went back to her and she said no, she wants full both, and I can get supervised visitations. And I said, this is just crazy. And I told the mediator, I said, and it's the same mediator from the first time. So she done seen it all. She knows all, and she knows who's fighting for what. And so I said to her, I said, well, tell her, because I know you went and told her full. Tell her I'm willing to do joint, but I'm not agreeing to supervised visitations. So she put us in the same room together, and the girl was still on the same BS, and then started to bring up, well, what do you do for work? And I said, you know what I do for work? I have a regular job. I work 5 days a week. And what are those hours? And I said, I work mostly nights. And she goes, oh, and so our son would be with your girlfriend during those night hours? And I said, well, yeah, they have a relationship. He knows her. It's been a year. And she goes, oh, okay. And I said, but you have a job that you work nights too. Where is my son then? And the mediator's so petty. The mediator goes, yeah, what do you do for work? And I already told her. And then the girl goes, well, I'm an independent contractor. And the mediator goes, and what does that entail? And I said, she goes, well, I work nights. And I said, girl, I already told her you a stripper. Just tell her that you strip. It's not illegal to be a stripper. But you lying in court. This is like literally court.
Right.
Mediation is
Yes.
court. Stop lying.
Let her lie. Let her jack her credibility.
And,
That's
and,
good.
and so then I say to then I say to the media, I say, I'm sorry, ma'am. She's just being absolutely ridiculous. And I just can't allow her to waste another minute of my time. I will just see her in court. I'd like to end the mediation. And the mediator's so petty. I love this woman. She goes, well, if Jess don't want to do it, then I can't have a mediation with one person. So we're gonna have to end this phone call. And I was like, oh man, this is gonna be great. But in the meantime, one of the major things that I wanted to do this with y'all and explain my story is, one, so other people that were going through stuff like me could get help or try to figure it out or not do the stupid things that I did. But also was, do you guys know of any places that offer affordable help for lawyers? Because I'm struggling with that. I don't, you know.
So the thing is, you're in California.
Yeah,
So we have resources scattered around the whole country, right? And we do this for that very reason, so that when we do post this, it's a potential lawyer or someone in the field that may see your story and want to help and do something pro bono or just assist you. So this is our way of giving back for the resources in the places that we don't have. We
I
do know
appreciate
of
you.
other people who are fighting in Cali. What I will say is, up until what you've explained, we've never heard a story quite like yours. And Cali is just one of those
Yeah,
states where
that's
it's just a
tough.
hard no. Like, to fight for anything, it's a hard no. It doesn't seem like you have gotten to that point because we don't know
Yeah.
what can happen in court. Like you said, you can have a boatload of evidence. It's all about
You
your
could just be
strategy.
in a good county too, so that could
Yeah,
work in your favor
yeah,
too.
but
Yeah.
as far as that, this story, we will, share it. You should have people to share it as well and reach out, and that way we may get some feedback because we've had stories where we posted and people were able to get some contact and some reach, so we'll be in touch.
Let me
But
go ahead.
no,
So,
that's all. I
let
just
me.
want to
I
tell
got.
them.
We got a link that we can send you too.
Yeah.
That could
All right.
possibly help you find somebody. But when you go to court, um, you can ask for legal aid.
Oh, really? I didn't know they did that. I didn't
Yeah,
know. I didn't
Yeah.
know they did court
yeah.
appointments for
You
stuff
you
like
should
that.
you should you should be able to ask for a legal aid. Does she have a lawyer?
She did last time. The lawyer was terrible though.
Yeah.
That lawyer.
So therefore, if she have a lawyer, they can't let you. Well,
There will be
I got to
a
look into
still.
the Cali laws, but in most states they don't allow you to go up against a lawyer if you
Oh no, they did. Though.
Pro
They
se.
pro
they did
se.
last time. They did it last time. They let me go up
They
against the
did.
lawyer. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it
but it
just
wasn't.
depends on the state, but
but I got a guy that I can connect you with, and he's very familiar with the California courts and how it works. So
we'll send his information over
yeah,
once we're done with the live, and he
All right, I
can
appreciate that.
possibly help y'all because he actually fought in California, so he's well informed
but
with
it's one
the
question.
way it works.
It's one question we never asked you though. I mean, I know it's probably kind of
Yeah.
late for that, but who's
Who's
the
the deadbeat?
deadbeat?
She is. It ain't me for sure, man.
Okay. And I always ask everybody this: if it could be a perfect world, what would that look like for you in the situation that you in right now today?
Yeah, I would have my son full custody. I would never keep him from her. I would never keep him from her. But I think that she has a lot of stuff in her life that she needs to work on and facilitate before she even thinks about involving a child in it. And at the time that we were having a baby and planning for that, I thought that we had similar outlooks on having this child and what was going to come next. And she has shown me that we didn't. And that she hasn't even at this point, he'll be 3 in February, and you still don't have the fundamental outlook that you need to be parenting a child. You're still focused on you. Like, for instance, her social medias. She's still living like she 19, posting selfies and TikTok dances in her bedroom. And it's like, that ain't what this is about. You know what I mean? You should be focused. Where's your son when you're doing that? And like my socials are flooded with my baby because that's my world. I know that's only a inkling of what people's lifestyles are, but it shows so much when you're a parent what you're
Yeah.
doing online. You know what I mean? And like, she hasn't held a job, she hasn't held a safe haven, and it's like I just don't I don't want that for my son, and I feel like I don't want the generational curse of not having a father in his life be his story. Especially when I'm working so hard and fighting for so hard to be in his life. I'm not one of those fathers who had a child and said forget about it. I'm the one over here fighting tooth and nail trying to be a part of his life, and it would just be to have him on a constant basis and him be happy and healthy and be able to learn and grow and be nourished and complete fulfillment. You know?
He needs stability. Every
Yeah.
child
Yeah,
needs stability, and all that we've heard from this whole story is a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of instability, neglect. Like, it's a lot of things that would raise a major concern,
yeah,
and if you are the fit parent or the parent that's going to do everything in his best interest to provide him with that stable environment, and nurture him and his is not stunting his growth and development, bouncing all around. Nothing. I mean, we can go on and on, but
Yeah,
the courts, they can make that decision, but again, it is very, very hard to prove in a sense where they're just gonna take away a mother's rights. Like it's
yeah,
easy for a father because we know what you guys are up against, right? But a
yeah,
mom, they are, they favor women, and we know that, and that sucks. But
yeah,
your case has to be prepared in a way to show what's best for your kid. It's not about the he said, she said, the what y'all did to
Yeah.
each other,
Don't
the way
focus on that.
y'all
yeah.
this
It's got
and
to be
that.
paperwork.
Don't talk bad, don't bash. When you go in that courtroom, your goal is to make that judge understand why your son is best with you.
The
Yeah,
best
Not
interest.
not even
Two
that.
parent, two parent household.
Right. It's
Uh,
a
yeah,
lot of pluses on your side that we see in terms of even the way that we want custody, right? And when I say we, I mean that wholeheartedly for everybody that's watching. I'm a wife, right? These
yeah,
are my kids. I fought with him. I had to do that. And so we were the better fit.
yeah,
When they're looking and they're wearing those options, hey, what are these kids' life gonna be like if we leave them here or if we take them there? And so that's what it's all about. It's all about the kid. A lot of people go
yeah,
in that courtroom and they want to paint this picture of this terrible person and what they did to them
yeah.
and how they act with this and that. But they gonna say, but what type of mother is she? And it got to be from a legal standpoint of why she's failing her kid and not doing the right things as a parent for them to switch custody.
yeah,
If you gonna end up with joint, that's still kind of
Even,
good too, because it holds her accountable for if she want to run off and play with that order. You have something, you have leverage. So this
yeah,
is why we say you may be aiming for full. That's kind of tough. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's a lot.
yeah,
But we didn't even initially go in seeking that, even though we wanted to and we know that's what we should have. But
yeah.
it's hard to try to convince courts to do that. So that's
Oh,
something that you may
I
want to think
changed it to
about.
joint. I changed it to joint.
but
Okay.
oh well. One thing to keep in mind, I'm gonna give you some tips just in case you do have to go in there and fight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and once again, I'm just speaking from past experience. I'm not a lawyer, so but you wanna look up the school districts. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure you in a better school. Uh, you want to look at you want to talk about when they ask you questions like what's your plans for your son, they don't want to hear like, okay, I want to just put him in a good school. They want to know what schools, where, what like they want to know details. So that sounds like a parent that cares about, their kid and their whereabouts. They don't want to just hear, yeah, I just want to put them in a good school. They want to hear I'm putting them in a school performing arts where I want him to learn this and such and
Yeah,
such, such and such. The name of the school is this, that, and that. So you got to keep that in mind. And
yeah,
three, focus on your key points. Um, you don't want to go in there just throwing a whole bunch of stuff at the judge. You want to
yeah,
focus on the key things that the judge is gonna look for, and that's education. The best interest of the kids. So you want to focus on them key things, like my wife just said earlier. You don't want to go in there trying to bash her. Just you got to make this strictly about your kid. So hopefully you do get a you can find a lawyer because it is very short notice. But if
yeah,
not, man, I got faith in you, man. You make sure you just hold your composure in there, and not get crazy because if
yeah. No doubt.
one bad remark, man, can cause you your case. So
A facial expression.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if you ever been in it, but like these
yeah,
things matter. You say, how old is he? He's just two, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be
So
three next month.
yeah. So have a good preschool, like one of the top preschools in mind.
yeah. And actually talk to somebody, give a name. Yeah, I talked to director such and such, such and
Yeah,
such. And we
yeah.
got plans. And
So the So the last time I went to court with her, I was taking notes. By the way, I don't want you to think I was just texting.
Okay,
I
no.
couldn't remember. Uh, last time I was in court, the judge has said that he can only judge me. He can only pass judgment on me based on what is like in print. So he was like, you might not think you need anger management classes. You might not think you need parenting classes, but you should take those classes just so the next time you come back to court that you could say, well, I've done the
I
work.
did that.
Yeah, and I did. I went to a stress coping class and I signed up for parenting classes.
Yep.
So
That's
Good
good.
job. That's
That's
great.
good. That's
I'm
great.
doing the work.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
great. So yeah, man, y'all got the balanced household, man. I think y'all got this, man. Either with a lawyer or without.
And
yeah,
keep in mind too that this is an uphill battle. Even once you get what you want, it don't stop here.
Yeah.
Like
right.
you can get full everything, and it, like when you dealing with a high conflict other parent, co-parent, but we don't have a co-parent, so I just like to say other parent because ain't no
Yeah, no doubt.
co-parents in here. Unfortunately, we would love that, but that's not the case. When
Yeah,
you're dealing with a high conflict person, they she's not gonna like the fact that there's some control, that she lost
yeah.
some control, because it's all about control.
That's all it
This
is.
order is gonna chin check her, put her right in her place, and so that's gonna be hard to accept. So it's gonna be a lot of going forward. It's still gonna be a fight. So don't let your guards down. I mean, I think you guys have been more than lenient with her,
Yes.
more than
Definitely.
compromising. Like, but when it comes to this order, all that got to go out the window, bro. Like
Yeah,
that order is your concrete everything. That's
yeah.
your get out of jail free card.
Car, yeah,
So
amen.
you don't waver from that order. You don't deviate. You don't start. Oh, okay, we got the order, so let's start doing our
Nah.
own thing because you got a history of doing that. And I guarantee you, one day it's gonna work against you. It probably ain't happened yet, but once you get that order, you don't want to
Yeah.
get to a point where y'all just okay, it's going
Doing y'all own
good and
thing.
y'all doing
Yeah,
y'all own thing. Then you got to take her back to court, and she like, oh well, he doing it too. That's
yeah.
gonna burn you. So that's another thing you got to keep in mind, and just keep your head up. Like you got a support system. You fighting for your baby. We're glad that you are educating yourself and that
Yeah.
you did want to come to the platform. Thank you for being
Yeah.
transparent. Thank you for sharing your story with us. It is gonna really help somebody. Our
Yes.
stories always get out, and little do you know, it's very, very, very powerful. Like people listen to you, like you said, the do's and the don'ts. They hear
Yeah.
what they should do, or they think about, oh, that sounds like me. It's crazy that you said a lot, because we got people reaching out to us all the time, and even with the whole story of her being served, I had to tell a guy today, listen, you gotta get
You
creative.
gotta get
Yes.
creative.
Your way is like the epitome of
Uh,
creativeness, right?
Yeah.
And a
That
lot of
yeah,
people just give up. They
yeah.
don't. They
yeah.
don't. They get stuck, and we know that that happens. But you just gotta keep pushing forward, and you'll get your day. And like he said, January 29th, because that's our son's birthday. So we hope to hear some good
Let's
news from
go.
you. We hope to
Yeah.
hear some good
Happy
news from
birthday to
you.
him.
Because and
Thank
just
you.
and just keep in mind too, man. We was in the battle for 5 years.
Oh wow.
So don't get discouraged.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh it's one of them things, man. You win some, you lose some. But
yeah.
but you just gotta keep going.
You live to
Uh
fight another day.
Most definitely. You got it.
Okay.
You got it. You got it. As
Okay.
long as you keep
You
that mindset, because a lot of fathers they go into it thinking that
instantaneous, like
it's gonna happen right
Yeah,
away,
no.
and a lot of it is not gonna be like that because you going up against a system that's not for us, not for fathers, it's for
yeah.
women,
It's
and
a
and
business.
and like I tell fathers all the time, we don't have if we got to play ball, like we can't go into this arena trying to play
Pick a game.
football, and you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
it's a basketball game. Like you gotta beat them at their own game, and you gotta be on point with it. Like my
yeah.
wife just said, you gotta follow that order to the T. And a lot of
Script for the script.
fathers, they don't do that. They show up late for a pickup or something, and that type of stuff costs them. They cost them
Yeah,
big. So
Cause you never know where you may end up. We started out with joint too. And
Yeah,
now we have physical custody of these kids because she just did not follow the order.
Yeah.
All the
yeah,
other shitty stuff is gonna be there. Like you said, it's gonna happen again. It's a pattern. This is who this person is. So you gotta expect that to happen, and you just keep documenting. Don't sweat.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. Make sure you ask, can y'all have some type of talking parents app where y'all not
yeah,
contacting each
yeah.
other
Yes.
phones
That's another
directly?
one.
You
Yeah,
need that. You need something where, because that even
That's key.
that helps a lot of, because that app, little
because
do
then she
they
can't
know,
lie.
you can use that for court.
You
And
can use
so
it
Yeah,
in
a
court.
lot of people be just doing all this crazy stuff in our case as well, just talking like it's free game. But you gotta understand, if a judge see you saying these things and acting like this, how you think that's gonna look? So you
yeah,
gotta put all these little measures in place little by little.
And remember, when you talking in that app, you gotta talk in the app like if the judge
It's
is
watching.
watching.
right there. Yeah,
And keep it short. Keep it short
Short
and
and simple,
simple.
cause
yeah.
I'm telling you, as sure as
And
my
about
name,
that kid.
yes,
About that
Y'all so equally yoked. It ain't funny.
man, you don't even understand the battles we didn't even went through, man.
Listen.
It's
Yeah,
tough. It's tough. So I took my hat off to your girlfriend from hanging in there
Yes.
with you, because it's definitely tough. And sometimes they get lost in the sauce. You know, people want to
yeah,
call them pick me's and stuff like that. But you know, for her to love you and to love your child, man, and you know, to go through this battle with you, she's going through this stuff too. She
Yeah.
have her own emotions and stuff too. And you have to be sensitive to her too. So I
yeah,
just want to give her flowers for that,
Yeah.
man, because that
yeah. Makes
every
sense.
man wish for a woman like that.
Y'all do not have to dance completely to her tune. And I'm glad that you was able to go jump and do that. And but moving forward, you need to set some boundaries.
Yes.
You got
Yeah,
to. She may not never even tell you, but on the inside, she could very well be feeling slighted. Like
yeah,
nobody's saying that your kid got to take a back burner or to fight or nothing, but you have to understand that you don't never put nobody else in a position to feel like they come before your life and your situation, because without you, he won't have anything. Like you have to still take the time out to put y'all first and to don't let nothing come in between that. Because
yeah,
they with these kids, baby, they will rock. Kids can These women using these kids can ruin a whole good thing. It
Yes.
yeah,
has been done. It
And,
has been done.
and I don't know if you can. I'm gonna say this. I ain't gonna talk your ear off all night.
yeah. No doubt.
Make sure you can prove um how shaky she been with going here, living there.
Yeah,
Because if she can't, if you can prove that, that's huge.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We got text confirmation on all that from her
Yeah,
saying
and
I don't live there no
your
more.
mom could
I
possibly
live
be a
here.
witness too.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
for sure.
try to organize it like he said with them key points, because we,
Yeah,
even just us doing interviews and just trying to get people to land these, it never happened. We've been on this thing for 2 hours. These we say these interviews should last a good 20, 30 minutes. It never do, because it's
yeah,
just so much, so you just
yeah,
Yeah, it's
want
a
to
lot.
give it all. But in court, no.
yeah.
Look at
Yeah,
California laws and look at them laws to see what exactly do judges switch custody off of, what, the stuff that they want to
the
hear.
key
Not all
points.
that
Yeah,
jibber jabber in
Because
between
it's all
bullshit.
about what you can prove.
yeah.
So, all right, man, we got faith in y'all. The 29th,
I
that's my
And
appreciate
son's
we're
you.
gonna be
birthday.
looking
Let's
So,
for
go.
okay.
come
Put a
on, man.
We're
We
prayer up
gonna
for
got
be
your
looking
boy.
for it.
we got
Put a
So
prayer up for your boy. I'll definitely let
for
y'all know,
sure.
man.
all right. Thank you,
All
Jay
right,
Thank you
man.
Will.
so much.
And
I press you.
make sure you send them videos, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I got you. I got
All
you.
right.
All right,
Yeah.
buddy.
All right,
Have
you
a
have a
good
good night.
night.
You too.
Woo!
That was one
That
for the
was one
books.
for the books, man.
Um
It's tough, man.
y'all think we we do this for fun. You got to be kidding me. These are people's lives. This
Yeah.
is why it's our life. And it's like, to watch this, if you can relate, this is something that you want to take in. If it's you, if you fight, if you know somebody, like we do this for the people. This is all educational. This is all inspirational. So you can say, hey, if they can do it, so can I.
This
And this is what you need to know. And so we gonna keep pushing, but that's
this
that's my 2 cents for
this
tonight.
this is our purpose. But I will say this: if whoever been watching, just take this. what he did. Don't keep giving those same
Chance.
chances after chances after chances, because you find yourself in a bind. The first red flag, man. You gotta put your foot down. And I've been there, and I'm sure a lot of men that been on this platform, we all been there because we thinking in the best interest of the kid. But like my wife said earlier, you can't reason with crazy, and it just won't work out in your favor. But
No.
good night. Y'all have
Until
a good
next
one.
time.
Who's the deadbeat?
Not me.